What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever.
and this is a New Yorker's perspective. Back with the brother Sharif Anael-Bey. We got also Sheik 7 Islam L on today to talk
Yep.
about Masonry. Now,
Woo.
since Sharif has made this video of pertaining to Masonry, it's been a lot. He's been getting a lot of flack online, and which I really don't understand. But hey, people are people. They have their opinions. It's the Rock. Anyway, so I want to go into it. I'm gonna just explain. I like to explain myself a lot so people can understand where I'm coming from. I like to be totally transparent. So I entered the lodge, into the apprentice back in the days, 2007 or whenever. I went in the lodge and I figured at that point it wasn't for me, and I just didn't follow through with it.
No doubt.
I didn't follow through with it. So I have a lot to learn about Masonry and why Masons are so controversial. When I went into the lodge, there was nothing controversial about it whatsoever. What it was for me, from my experience, what I gathered was they first of all, Masons help out the community. They're active in the community. Secondly, it's a brotherhood. From what I gathered, it's a brotherhood. It's brothers are real tight, close knit with one another. So I don't understand what's the issue. I understand Muslim and Muslim sons and the lessons, and they Masons being regarded as 10%ers who hold secrets. But from what I saw, I don't understand what the secret was. There's really no secret. From what I gathered, also, all human beings have secrets.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Me and Mikey, behind the scenes doing this podcast, we have secrets together, NYP, that other people are not privy to.
That's fact.
So are we considered 10%ers because we have secrets that the public doesn't know about?
Right.
Spookism. Don't say that because they're gonna go around saying, "Oh my God, they ride goats."
Yo, let me I want to touch on it real brief. First, I rise giving praise to Allah, honors Prophet Noble Drali, honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America, honors to my leadership, Brother R. Jones Bey, honors to all those, all those that seek after and are seeking to attain the title of faithful. And I want to give honors to the hosts. I want to give honors to NY New York Perspective Podcast, right? Give honors to my brother Sheik 7 Islam L. So real quick, I just wanted to talk real brief about this whole thing about keeping a secret, right? So it has, there is a purpose, some people keep secrets to oppress other people. We get that, especially our people, right? We've been otherized outside of so many aspects of society that, we understand what it means to feel powerless. We get it, right? But then there's the responsible side of having a secret. The responsible side, right? See, people think nowadays, especially the so-called woke thing nowadays, this is the age of Aquarius, this is the age of I know, this is no longer the age of secrets. Wrong. That's not what that means. Age of Aquarius means that now, if you choose, you can seek answers. But you gotta seek them. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean things are gonna be just handed to you. You gotta put the work in.
Right.
That's what that means. You gotta put the work in. And if you're not ready for it, you're not gonna get it. It's just that simple. I don't care who it is, right? If you're not ready for it, you're not going to get it. The Prophet Drali taught us that the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, not you and not me. See? They're the treasures of Allah. So you qualify yourself to obtain things. It ain't up to me just to give you something. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Pardon me. I want to ask this. So it's clear you're a Mason,
Yeah,
right? Now,
absolutely.
is there anything the prophet wrote or in the literature anywhere
Right.
where it says Masons or Moors can't be Masons?
No, absolutely not.
No. First and foremost, allow me to rise. I give all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Honors to the forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to all officials, all members, and all carrying the spirit of the prophet,
Praise Allah.
Islam.
Um,
I we have oral statements in the Moorish Science Temple of America.
that's right.
And these are statements that have been attributed or reported to the prophet by particular individuals who are supposedly to been in this particular space with the prophet when he spoke these words.
Correct.
One of the oral statements says, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, and Brother Sharif, you can straighten me if I'm in error.
Yes, sir.
It says that the prophet is reported to say that the Masons and the preachers would be the last ones to come in. They will fight him tooth and nail.
Now, okay, let me jump in there. It
Yes,
doesn't.
sir.
So the oral statement you're speaking about, it doesn't even mention Masons. It says the last ones that'll be coming in will be the. So it says one day you're gonna see Asiatics running. He said they'll be running so fast you can shoot dice on their coattails. He said they're gonna be running to get into the temple.
Yes,
It's gonna take, and he said the last ones in the door will be the Christian preachers, and the Europeans will be beating them over the head, driving them in.
Wow.
That's what he said, right? So, but Brother Sheik 7 is correct. There are points there are areas where the prophet is reported to have spoken on Freemasonry and the Masons, but it was never negative. And again, it's reported, so that's like our hadith. Oral statements are like our hadith, so it's like secondhand. Some more reliable than others, right? That said, one of them is this: the prophet said, "Hold your meetings on the second floor like the Masons." That's one of them. See?
And this is in the oral statements.
Oral statements. Now, there's another oral statement that people use. They say where the prophet said, "I took the cover off all the secret organizations." I can agree with that, and I think that that's a reliable one. But people take it out of context. They think because he says he took the cover off secret organizations that he was a whistleblower. Nowhere in our literature is he whistleblowing.
All right, Moore, I just want to put this out there. Now, Moors, if you base anything on the oral statements, that's where the argument can come in.
Correct.
So I want to try to avoid that and get to what was written in the Circle 7, 101s, the Constitution and bylaws, because we know for a fact, right, that the prophet ordained this to be the main literature for the
that's fact
for the teachings.
That's
so
fact.
Nowhere in the literature whatsoever says anything about Moors should avoid the lodge.
Nowhere.
I haven't seen it.
Nowhere. Now here's one of the misconceptions, right? Here's one of the, and this is a very ignorant misconception, and I'm not using the word ignorant as a slander. Many people are just innocently ignorant. They just don't know. That being said, one, the institution, I have to be very specific, the institution of Freemasonry, as opposed to Freemasonic knowledge, as opposed to, you get it? The institution of Freemasonry is not a secret organization. It's an organization with secrets. Big difference. If it was a secret organization, you wouldn't know the name.
Right.
All right.
Facts.
Yeah, it's an organization with secrets. It's not a secret organization. It's an organization with secrets. And what a lot of people think, All the secrets are things that you have to know to gain entrance in a lodge.
Exactly.
That's what people are calling secrets.
Brother Sheik 7 Islam L, you wanted to say something?
One thing I was gonna say is that in light of the, I call it spookism,
Mm-hmm.
it is best because here we are with a organization that's in the public, but yet it's secret.
Is he
I mean,
freezing? Oh no, he's not freezing. Okay.
I've been pondering it because see, allow me to say this. It said, "A wise man doubted thought and changed his mind.
Correct.
A fool is absent and knows everything but his own ignorance." Right.
Correct.
So I never stand in a place where I can't be taught or I can't change my mind.
That's right.
So therefore, I ponder things of this particular nature.
Right.
Because think about this. One thing that a lot of people who criticize Masonic organizations do not understand that all Masonic organizations do not necessarily have the same narrative or are going in the same direction.
That's
Right.
fact.
Right.
That's fact. That's right. That's right, brother.
While we begin to point fingers and throw everybody into one box and in one circle,
Mm-hmm.
see, I have experience, and I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna say it again. I have experienced because a lot of people talk,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people read. I mean, I'm an avid reader. I've read a lot,
Right.
but can I say I have experienced 90% of the things that I've read?
Mm.
Question to me. However, experience means that when you enter that lodge and you go through an initiation, and we're not talking about someone just talking.
Right.
We're talking about an initiation. And in the process of any initiation, an experience is experienced, if
Right.
that makes any sense.
Right.
Exactly. No, you nailed it.
Right.
And
Right.
in that experience, certain wisdom, certain things are transmitted. And for those who have not gone through that experience, that's why we can't talk. We can't talk about the same experience
Right.
because you haven't experienced it.
Right.
So at that point, what is there to talk about, really?
How about that?
Perfectly
How
said.
about that? How about that?
Perfectly said.
How about that? Now, I want to jump in on that really quick, too. So, first of all, I agree 100%, right? Another thing I want to say really quick about Freemasonry or the institution of Freemasonry. One, like I said before, it's not a secret organization. It's an organization with secrets. That's one. Two, it's not a Christian organization. It's another big, huge, gigantic misconception. It's not a Christian organization. So there is no conflict of interest between being a Muslim and a student of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America and being a member of a lodge. That being said, I joined the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated in 2012. I was initiated, pastored, and raised in Blue Lodge in 1997. So people gonna be upset with me or look down on me because I was in the lodge before I was in the temple. Then I mean I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
You part of Illuminati.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying?
I know what they.
Go
I
ahead,
know what
bro.
they would tell us.
What's that?
We infiltrators.
Well, watch this, right? Now let's talk about and this brings me to the other point. Let's talk about what is in Freemasonry. What are what's in there that everybody has issues about, or they're scared of, or they have a phobia with, or they're spooked out about? How about we turn to chapter 5 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America? See, because here's the real issue, people. Here's the real issue with many people in the organization that want to demonize somebody like myself or Brother Sheik 7 is they think because I've been in the lodge that I hold that over the Prophet's teaching, that I value that over the Prophet's teaching. That's a presumption, and a very ignorant presumption, right? But right in chapter 5, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. See, here's the thing. You can call it what you want to call it. What it is what it is. Okay? So, chapter 5, instruction 12 through 19. If you ask a member of a lodge what that is, he's going to tell you. Oh, those are the working tools of my profession. That's what he's going to say.
Drop that. Can we hear that?
But if you ask a member of the MSTFA, they're going to say, oh, this is Moorish Science. All right. It is what it is, regardless of what you want to call it.
And then we'll say they're tools,
right,
of the workshop of the mind.
There you go. Here we go. Right? Jesus says what? These tools remind me. What tools? He had physical tools in his hand, a compass, square, and an axe. He said, these tools remind me of the tools we use in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and we build up character.
It's like a rough ass law to me.
What do we say? What do Freemasons say about the craft when asked about what it is? A beautiful system of what? Morality.
Veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
Come on. So people can get spooked out about whatever, right? There's only one way to tell the truth. One. Now, we may use different language. We may use different wording. But the truth is the truth. Truth is but one. That being said, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the Moorish Science Temple of America is part of the great program to uplift fallen humanity. Part of. Doesn't have a monopoly on the great program. It is part of the great program.
So we have to make the presumption that there's others a part of the program doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
So Moore, you went into the lodge at 1997.
Yes, sir.
Can you share what lodge?
Oh yeah. I went through Scottish Rite. I mean, that was the jurisdiction. Scottish Rite jurisdiction.
You went straight for it, huh?
Yeah, not Prince Hall. Right. And then later became involved with the Grand Orient of France, Egyptian Rite Freemasonry, which is 96 degrees. And the particular branch, I belong to a very peculiar branch of Egyptian Rite. Okay. That branch blends craft masonry with ecclesiastical empowerments.
And can we add one thing, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
I just want to say this to anyone that's listening.
Yes, sir.
If you don't understand something, you will have fear for it. That's where that comes from. Those who know, those within the craft, and and shout out to the Moors and the other school of thoughts that know the history would know that this is our craft. Us melanated people, so-called Black, African, whatever you want to call it. This is our craft that has been perverted by wicked people in high places.
Brother Mikey,
You understand?
you just threw out a powerful point. So follow me. Those who claim a part of the prophet's work, I'll put it that way, who claim they're a part of the prophet's work, who identify as Moorish Americans that have this crazy phobia about Freemasonry, they're carrying the same the same illogical phobia about people who say that the prophet plagiarized this.
The pot calling the kettle black.
So it's the same illogic, right? People say, oh, he plagiarized this from the Aquarian Gospels. No, first of all, he didn't say authored. He said divinely prepared. Number one, divinely prepared. Okay, right? And two, for argument's sake, let's say he did plagiarize it. Who does it belong to anyway?
It's funny to me because
it belongs to us anyway. The Muslims in India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time was appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. You see what I'm saying?
But they're not reading, though. That's the difference.
Correct.
When it said divinely prepared, you're missing it.
You're missing it.
You're overlooking things. I don't know why. Maybe you need to slow down a little bit.
So when I can read in chapter 5 about the working tools that are free, that something that is very familiar to a Freemason, and I can read about it in the prophet's literature, and read about, we use the square to measure our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, to make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw circles around our passions and desires to keep within the bounds of righteousness. Come on, man.
It's all about subduing your passions. Don't they? You know what?
How about that? There you go. So what does that allow us to do? It allows us to build relationships with people that have influence. How do you think the prophet got influence? How do you think he was able to work on our behalf in public and in private?
But now that would be insinuating that he was a Mason. And that's
what I'm going to share with you.
Are you saying he was a Mason?
Yes. What I'm going to share with you.
Okay, pardon me more. You realize what you just said. You said Noble Jali was a Mason. Now, do you have proof of that?
Here we go. Evidence to the fact, or evidence to the point. The last living, surviving member of Canaanite Temple back in the 80s, 1981. His name was Robert Walker. I'm gonna supply this as a gift to New York Perspective Podcast, and anybody that wants it can get it from you.
Bring it on, man.
Ali's Men possesses the full interview that the late Grand Sheik of Temple Number 10, Newark, New Jersey, his name was Brother C. Ellis Hill. Brother C. Ellis Hill interviewed Robert Walker in the 80s. And in that interview, in the beginning of the interview, he says, when you met the prophet, you met him where? He goes, we would meet at the barbershop, at Dixon's Barbershop at 181 Warren Street. He said, was that the first time that you saw him? Robert Walker said, no. We knew each other from the Oddfellows and Freemasons.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time?
Brother Robert Walker, who was the last surviving member of Canaanite Temple, told Brother C. Ellis Hill in 1981 that he knew the prophet from the Oddfellows and the Freemasons. Now, let's take it a step further. Some people will say that Abdul Hamid Suleiman or Dr. Solomon Muhammad taught the prophet. No, we disagree. The earliest we can place Suleiman, I'm bringing this to a point. The earliest we can place Suleiman in Newark, New Jersey is 1921. As per the interview with Robert Walker, we placed the prophet in New Jersey as early as 1913. 1921, Abdul Hamid Suleiman, who was a high-ranking Egyptian Rite Freemason, he made contact with Canaanite Temple. In other words, the members that the prophet had organized. He made contact with Canaanite Temple. Listen close. He offered them to This is the wording. When I say it, Mikey's going to know, and Brother Sheik 7 is going to know exactly what it means. He offered to heal them over to his jurisdiction of Egyptian Rite Masonry. He offered to heal them over under one condition. Oh, they wanted what he had, but they did not want to abide by his one condition. And that condition was, you have to give up Christianity and become Muslims. They said, nope. Now, interestingly enough, that is what caused the prophet to disassociate himself with Canaanite temple as well. Because his partner, James Dixon, who owned the barbershop, was helping the prophet, but James Dixon didn't agree that we were Muslims. And many of the members sided with James Dixon over the prophet. So Abdul Hamid Suleiman runs into the same issue, but from a Masonic perspective. Now, Mikey knows what this means. Sheik 7 Islamil knows what this means. To heal over means what? Tell him, Mikey.
Usually in French, we say it's usually to affiliate, to bring a brother in.
Which means, right, or in this case, heal over. Go ahead, Brother Sheik 7.
In order to be healed over. And you teaching me something right now. This is something history I've never been privy to.
Yes, sir.
To heal in Masonic language, to heal somebody over means that first and foremost, in order to be healed, you must already be Masonic. A Mason.
You're already a Mason.
Already be a member of the craft to be healed. So it's no healing without already previously being associated with the Masonic craft.
So what does that tell you about all of the members of Canaanite Temple?
They were travelers.
So, all right, I just want to real quick.
That's deep.
The last we did a podcast with the God Be Original Allah, and he mentioned Robert Walker.
Yes.
A lot of the plus degrees come from Robert Walker. I'm assuming that's the same Robert Walker.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the same Robert Walker. This Robert Walker by the early 80s was an elderly man. And so let me give a little more background. What had happened was that Brother C.L.S. Ills, one of his officials, a sister in his temple, right? Every year they used to do like this little bus trip where they would go around to key areas during the early stages of the prophet doing his work in Newark, New Jersey. And there was always this one old man that was always on the bus trip, but he never spoke to anybody. And so the sister told Brother C.L.S. Hill, that old man wants to talk to you. He's in the hospital. He has terminal cancer. He wants to talk to you. He said he knew our prophet. So, of course, Brother C.L.S. Hill jumps right to it like, oh, let me go meet this guy. You see what I'm saying? He goes to meet the man, and sure enough, the man was like, I used to go on the trips because I was there. I was at 12th and Rutgers when we moved from the barbershop to the second story spot over the saloon at 12th and Rutgers. You see what I'm saying? So that's the background of that whole thing. The man had terminal cancer. He wanted to give his story about the fact that he knew the prophet. You see? But so I don't think that's the same Robert Walker.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I mean, unless the Robert Walker that you're referring to wrote a lot of.
Unless he did. I'm not going to say it's not true. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this Robert Walker, like I said, he kept a low profile. And it wasn't until he knew he was dying that he reached out to Brother C.L.S. Hill to give him the interview.
All right.
And like I said before, I'm going to provide that interview to New York Perspective podcast. And anybody that wants it can get it from you.
Oh boy! Now, why you do that? Now
I'm saying, I have a question. Now
I'm gonna get a lot of inboxes asking for this stuff. Listen, we get it, we got it. That's it.
I have a question.
Now it's a secret when we got it.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I have a question though. Aesthetically, that photo of Noble Drew Ali sitting down, right? Yes. And his feet is positioned a certain way, and I believe the floors are correct me if I'm wrong, checkered. When would they assume that aesthetically that presents as some kind of form of
Well,
masonry?
here's the thing. If you know, you know, you don't, you don't. So
Yeah.
now, which brings up another point, right?
Mhm.
You have to be trained to know what you're looking at. Somebody's got to tell you. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how brilliant naturally you are. Some things you have to be told.
Mhm.
And that's that. Some things you have to be told. Like Brother Mikey, you and Brother Sheik 7 and Brother Ron, right, know the significance of the fact that the wording in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America starts on page 3. There's a significance to that. But you know the significance, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
When we say in our questionnaire, what is the nationality of Ruth? Answer, Ruth is a Moabitess.
Right.
Ruth was a Moabitess. What is the modern name for Moabites? Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexico. See, that means something to somebody who's trained to recognize it.
And that's the truth, Ruth.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So we know that the phrase that Freemasons in the craft describe themselves as sons of the widow. We know that Freemasonry, the institution, borrowed that from Ruth the Moabitess. Why? Because Ruth's husband Boaz died shortly after consummation of the marriage. So all of her children, all of her progeny are called what? Sons of the widow. That is why it's significant when he said, what is the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a what? Moabites. What is the modern name for Moabites? Moroccans. Go back to question 14. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So who is the real symbolic Hiram Abiff? The fallen Asiatic sons and daughters of North America. There's a reason why the prophet put that in the questionnaire. Where was Hiram Abiff's body buried?
The northwest corner of the...
Yeah.
So why is all this stuff there? Let's go back to what the prophet said about taking the cover off the secret organizations. He wasn't a whistleblower. What he was doing was through what he gave us, his students. He gave us the ability to be the walking, talking secret.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Just to give the public your history. I think it's necessary for people to know your history a little bit so they could understand how vast your knowledge is. And they're not just talking to a regular, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're talking to a man, of course, right?
Yes.
Well, well-studied man. So if you're talking or listening to this brother and you're confused, it's probably because you don't know something, because you haven't studied as much or as long. So I want to start off with your history, because you could quote 120 off like it's water. So
I began. I'm glad you brought. Thank you, brother. My start was at age 7 when I went back to live with my mother in California. She was a member of the Nation of Islam. That was First Resurrection. So I did 1st and 2nd grade at Muhammad's University of Islam, Mosque 27. So Supreme Wisdom was par for the course, man. That's what we did every morning. We'd pray, close quarter drill, recite actual facts and student enrollment, and then went to class. And then FOI class on Saturday mornings. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I did when I was young. And then later went back to, yes, sir. And then later, years later, back with my father in New York, I run right back into it in the streets with the 5% demonstration. So it was like a coming home for me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like a coming home. And then, of course, you know, of course, studying supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. Come on, you already know where that naturally leads you, people. If you're doing any real study, you're looking for things that may be familiar.
Right.
What do we find? I find Kabbalah, like, oh, the attribution of numbers and letters, an alphanumeric system that allows you, come on, bro, to find deeper meanings to things. Mm-hmm. Boom. So where does that lead me? That leads me, that led me to a number of places. It led me to and again, I wasn't officially a Rosicrucian, but I studied the Rosicrucian work, studied Max Heimel's work, right? Then, later became a member of the craft, right? But I was a long time student of craft material long before I ever joined. But again, now this is what prompted me, and this is something that Brother Sheik 7 was saying earlier. I remember having a visit by a particular lodge's investigative team popped up at my apartment, right? And they're looking at my books and they're like, why do you have this? And you shouldn't have that. And da-da-da-da-da. I'm going up one side of them and down the other. I know their craft better than most of them. Now, the head of the investigative team, the elderly brother, was just sitting there smiling the whole time. And then he finally says, listen, y'all leave him alone. Then he said this, Brother Sharif, you know quite a bit about the craft. And of course, I'm feeling myself like, yeah. But then he's looking around at my shabby apartment. He's looking around at my poor living conditions. And you know what he said? He said, it seems like you got a bag full of tools, but you don't really know the use of them. I said, whoa. And it hit me at that moment. I got all these books and I'm playing around. I'm running around the pool. I need to jump in. See,
hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What did Master Father Muhammad say when he said when you have Islam, you will have what?
After learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. You can prove it in no limited time. Now you must learn to use it and secure wealth for yourself while you are living. That is money, good homes, friendships in all walks of life. Right. Sit yourself in heaven at once. This is the greatest desire of your brother and teachers. But that goes perfectly in line with the Prophet's teaching. The Prophet teaches what? The Prophet teaches that heaven, earth, and hell are not above, around, below, but within. So that's why in Moorish Science Temple of America, civic engagement is a part of our religious obligation. Why? Because our heaven is right here, right now. Mm-hmm. See? That's why. Civic engagement is part of our religious obligation. See? On earth as it is in heaven. See? And that goes again back to this whole thing of people thinking, oh, you're in the lodge or you were in the lodge or blah, 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 blah. That means, you value that more than the Prophet's teachings. If I valued it more than the Prophet's teachings, I wouldn't be in the temple.
Right.
And once again, there's a reason why these connections are baked into the Prophet's teaching. People don't even realize when you're reading chapter 17 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, in chapter 17, instructions 34 through 41, page 27. You're reading about stuff that you're reading in the plainest language stuff that high-level Masons learn at later stages. That's what you're reading. In Flesh of Man, there's the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to higher tone and make it like the substance of the bodies of the planes above, which human eyes cannot behold. There's a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fixed is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. What does that mean? Here we go. The fixed is solved. Right? In some of the higher degrees, there's a Latin phrase. The Latin phrase is solve et coagula. What does solve et coagula mean? It means to make pliant what is fixed, to solve what is fixed. That is the calling card of ancient alchemists. That's what it is.
This is beautiful. I'm just vibing out, listening. I'm like,
yeah. But there's a reason why this stuff is baked into the teaching. For us to whistleblow? No, to be the walking, talking secret. That's why. And to gain assistance from those who are trained to recognize the sign, the past, the token of the past, and the perfect points of the entrance. Mm. They're trained to see it, so they're trained to aid and assist.
So, quick question: what's the difference between a Mason and a Shriner?
Shrine is not a Freemasonic organization. It's an organization for Freemasons. Big difference.
Yes, sir.
So when the lessons speak on Muslim sons, so for what I'm gathering, it's a Shriner.
Yes. Now, some people would take it more generally and say a Muslim son is also a Freemason.
Yeah.
Could be too. Could be too. But those people, as you already know, are counted as what? Civilized people. Counted as what? Part of the 5%. Like I said, with the Prophet's teaching, he said that the Moorish Science Temple of America is part of the great program. Part of the great program to uplift fallen humanity. That's why he said this is an everlasting movement. Why? Because the progress of humanity is planned and organized. It's not haphazard. It's part of a great plan. Who made Holy Quran and Bible? How long ago? And will you tell us why does Islam renew history every 25,000 years? How did the Prophet say it? We measure time by cycle ages, and the gate to every age we deem a milestone in the journey of the race. We, who's the we? The illumined, the enlightened. That's the we. The profane, the ignorant see time in a straight line.
That's peace. What that means, people, get the elixir Sagala will tell you. I'm just saying, trying to put that plug in.
Appreciate it.
But what you said about the Muslims.
The Prophet gave us the ability to practice what others practice in secret, in the open, as our religious practice, our religious doctrine. So they may say, a Freemason may say, "Ooh, I can't talk about that with you because you're right," and that's okay. But then you're talking to somebody who's never been in a lodge, like my assistant Grand Sheik, never been in a lodge. But guess what he could do? He can converse freely with Freemasons because he knows chapter 5 and chapter 17. He knows chapter 7 and chapter 11. So he can converse freely and they recognize him as an equal. Because, I mean, you can't unring the bell. If I know that the compass is used to draw circles around my passions and the desires and keep within the bounds of righteousness, Mikey, if you didn't know me from a can of paint but you knew I wasn't in a lodge, but I said that, what would you think?
Automatically, I would have threw some signs at you, like, "What's up?" Like,
automatically, you'd begin to recognize me as a brother and as an equal, and then guess what we can do? Have a conversation and build a relationship.
Yep.
I want to ask a question,
but still gauge you. Before going further.
Absolutely.
So the question I'd like to ask is, what's the difference between a fez and what a Shriner or a Mason would wear?
Oh, that's easy. Here we go. A shrine, a member of the shrine is a member of a fraternity. It's a fraternity. The Moorish Science Temple of America is not a fraternity. Moorish Science Temple of America, among other things, is a religious organization. But it's not just religious, because remember, what is the everlasting gospel? It is a saving power that comes from Allah, but through our ancient fathers. So a part of the saving power is cultural appropriation, cultural practice, cultural heritage is a part of the saving power. So for me, this is not fraternal. This is religious and cultural. That's the difference.
So whose idea was it, if you know, to implement the fez as one of the customs?
Oh, because it's appropriation of culture. That's all. It's appropriation. Now, on one end, I'm talking about the shrine. On one end, it gives honor to the culture. But some of us also know on the other end, it ridicules the culture. Because the shrine is also sometimes called the playground of Freemasonry. Right? So, you know, it's honoring the culture, right? And then there's the part of it where they kind of, you know, some people kind of look down on the culture and ridicule it. Why? Here we go. You ready? The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, the European is behind me, and why not you? It's your problem. Right? Why do they ridicule the culture? Because they know the people the culture came from. And they look at us in our current state today. And what's our current state, people? Dead. So they honor the culture, right? But look down on the people, you get it? Or have pity, however you want to look at it, on the people that that birthed the culture. So now it's on us to bring honor to the culture by living the culture. The fez represents a number of things, but one of the things it represents is what? Refinement, culture and refinement. To be cultured and refined is a hallmark of high civilization. So if you're wearing a fez, but you're tearing down your brother, what are you doing? Masquerading. Masquerading. That's what's happening. See?
So what's the issue with you? I don't know if you looked at any of the posts. I rarely look at what people talk about online.
Right.
I just see, oh, they're talking about somebody, and I just kind of like throw it to the side. So I don't know exactly what people are saying about you. Or
the prophet said it like this: to listen to their impertinence with patience and pity their absurdity. That's about it. Listen to their impertinence with patience and pity their absurdity. Case in point. Brother Mikey can speak to this. Brother Ron, you can speak to this. Sheik 7 can speak to this. Does Freemasonry favor any religion?
No.
Does Freemasonry require you to be religious?
No.
It only requires a belief in deity.
I was actually brought to the lodge by Moore.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Me too.
Yeah.
Let me stop messing around. But honestly, people, I used to be one of those people back then. I used to buy those DVDs and those books, reading too many David Icke books and all these other conspiracy books, and saying this is what they're saying. But it goes back to what I said earlier. Some wicked European, and this is not being prejudiced, with a bigoted heart, took our craft, perverted it, and tried to rebrand it and give it back to us.
No doubt.
I don't see it that way. I see it that they took the knowledge and they use it for themselves and their nation of people that best suited themselves.
That too.
Because we gotta because number one, we gotta realize how they received it.
How about that?
Us. That's what I'm saying. They perverted it. We gave it to them.
Yeah.
And that's reset of the day.
But it's like this. When the world embraces Islam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amongst Moorish Americans, it looks a particular way. Amongst Chinese people, it looks a particular way. Right. Amongst the Russians, it looks a particular way.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you disseminate, because see, it gets me back to the point of signs and symbols.
Yes.
Because see, the symbol is one thing, but it points to an unseen reality.
Uh-oh. Come on, let's go.
So now that we point, the symbol is not the thing. It just points to the thing. The question is, can you see the thing?
Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
And that's the problem in a lot of these conversations when we have, Masons this and Masons that. You know what I'm saying? It's the fact that you see a thing but don't see what's behind the thing or what's within the thing, which was called the essence of a thing or the source of a thing.
Come on, brother.
Do not know what it is.
Islam. So now, to your point, what does the compass and the square and the G in the middle represent?
Let's talk about it. The
High
tools
intellect.
are used to build dwellings for the sons of men. Now, we're not talking about physical edifices like a house or a building. We're talking about character for the spirit.
Ain't
Exactly.
that called that temple not built with hands?
Right.
Mhm.
Without the sound of a hammer or a nail.
I was gonna
Your
say
body is the temple of the Lord, the Most High. Now, follow me, right? We're talking about building up character, okay? The tools are used to build the character. Look at that symbol,
that. Mhm.
okay? Look at that symbol. What do you got? You got a circle.
Circle,
What draws circles?
a compass,
That circle is quadrated at right angles. What tool draws right angles?
square,
What is the seventh letter of the alphabet?
the G,
G.
What are we looking at here? You're looking at the result of what the tools build.
Now,
The temple
Islam,
of
what are those spaces?
perfected man. The temple of perfected man.
And the
You're
energy.
looking at the result.
Islam, what does the spaces in between up, down, left, and right represent?
That could be a number of things.
It could be the 4 elements of the universe.
Could be that. Guess what else it could be?
It could be thinking, willing, reasoning, and understanding.
It could be the 4 functions of the soul. Guess what else it could be? It could be the 4 angels at 4 gates protecting the holy city.
That too. And if you go, he said 4 gates. We could go even further. If you know about the Kabbalah, we could start with the letter A. You know the word.
That's
Third letter
right.
is L. The third letter
That's
is
right.
L, and the other one is A.
That's right, brother. That's a fact. So in question 38, here we go.
Mhm.
What is an angel? Answer: angels thought of Allah manifesting in human flesh. What are angels used for? Carry messages to the 4 corners of the world, to all nations.
News.
See? So people, here's the thing. People can call it, they can say, oh, that's Masonry. Yeah, okay. I just, that came out of our questionnaire. So is the prophet teaching Masonry? No, he's teaching Moorish science. Okay, whatever. Call it what you want to call it.
It's just tools. They all did.
There's only one way to tell the truth. And if somebody, and here's the other part, nobody has a monopoly on truth.
Boom.
Nobody has a monopoly on it.
But people act like they do, though.
People act like they got all the truth in their back pocket.
And then when we looking at more in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we know the thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed, right?
Thank you.
And we know that truth is art, right?
That's right. Hold on. Let's talk
And
about
art.
something else too in this thing. That number 7. So the circle, symbol of perfect man. Why? Because man is not the body of the soul. Man is spirit.
Exactly.
A circle. That's a
But then
symbol.
the 7. Why the 7? We measure time in cycle ages and negate to every age redeem a milestone in the journey of the race. We measure time in cycle ages. The last 3 questions in our questionnaire. How many days are in a circle?
7.
How many days are in a creation?
7.
7.
According to science, how many days are in a year?
7 days.
So that's the 7 of time, people.
Exactly.
Could that
7
be
of
base
time.
7 counting?
That-
Yeah, man.
That's right.
It's all
That's right.
mathematics.
That's
It
right.
still goes back to mathematics.
It's still, brother, it sure does.
Mhm.
Hold on. Let's take it a step further. I'll throw something else out there for you guys, right? That circle is quadrated into 4 arcs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's 4 arcs, right? You got the 4, chapter 1 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America talks about the spirits of earth, water, air, and fire.
Yeah, the elements.
Not the earth, water, air, and fire, but the
Spirits of, meaning they got life, people, meaning they can think, and in their power and in their measure have the power to choose, right? So watch this. You've got 4, right? You've got the triune. You've got the 3 major planes: spirit, soul, plane of manifest. There's your Blue Lodge. Man himself is spirit, soul, and flesh. Man is the walking, talking Blue Lodge. Right? And you got the 4 elements. 3 plus 4 is what? Okay, let's take it a step further. 4 times 7 is what? 28 is the number of days in a lunar month.
Yeah. About to go back to the
cycle. Moon governs physicality. Every cell in your body, its lifespan is 28 days.
Mm-hmm. I have another one too to add.
Yes, sir.
Within the 4 quadrants, right? It speaks of the elements of the universe, right?
Correct.
But within the elements of the universe, when we go into cycle, you also go through Zodiac, also known as the zodiac. You know what I'm saying? They don't, you know. That's why I say it's so deep. And this is why.
And then when you say that, it makes me want to ask you, what's the dimensions of a lodge?
Oh, come on, brother.
We go east, west, north. Come on, we can go. We can go there.
Come on, brother.
Come on, man.
You already know. You see. So what do we even like? Let's that 28 days. How many? And this is for my brothers in the Sufi order. Yep, I belong to a Sufi order too.
Me too.
Oh my God.
The order al-Hashashim, the Obeidi Tariqa. That's it. So those that want to look it up. Anyway, right? We have the moon mansions. How many letters in the Arabic language? 28. 28. Now those letters are called al-Johar, meaning jewels. These letters are just like Pythagorean mathematics, what Pythagoras learned in Egypt, right? The numbers and the letters are not just quantitative, they're qualitative, meaning each one has a personality, has a character. So these 28 letters are literally the raw building blocks of all of manifestation. When we say kun fayakun, that's literally how manifestation came to be. It was spoken. Those 28 jewels, 7 in each of the 4 corners. So there you go. It's 7 in each of the 4 corners. Or watch this, 4 for each of the 7 Elohim.
So you see how you said that? The truth in no matter what language it comes in, will be the truth. You said that's the word they used for the beginning, right?
Yes, sir.
We also say in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God.
Come on, brother.
So we travel. We go by the book
of John. Brother, the word, right?
Now the Elohim, would that be the planets?
The planets are representative, and I'm glad you brought that up. The planets are representative. There's 7 planets that are representative of the Elohim. If you want to look at it from the higher spiritual perspective, those planets are lenses of energy from the higher realms down to 3 dimensions. That's where we get the term 7 rays from.
And are we talking about?
That's what we get
also 7 inhabitable planets.
So okay. When we're talking, Islam, you hear me?
Yep.
Now, when we're talking about the Elohim, are we talking about the planets that represent the Elohim? Are we talking about the moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and then the sun?
And the sun. That's right. In that order. You got the order right. Now,
I know a little bit.
Are we talking about the physical planets? Let's see.
Our
prophet gave us secrets in the plainest language, but it's so plain that we overlook them. Training is necessary. Are we talking about the physical planets? The prophet said this, chapter 7, taught us this in chapter 7. Falsehood is that which seems to be. Anything that is true must be permanent. What do we mean by permanent? Has no beginning or ending. So that's the only thing that's true. Is things that have no beginning or ending.
Away.
That which is, yes, that which is eternal is what's true. That which is temporary is falsehood. So that means anything you could touch, taste, smell, hear, or feel is an illusion. So we're not talking about the physical planets. The physical planets are three-dimensional shadows of higher realities. Just like your physical body is a three-dimensional shadow of a higher reality. See, those things are simple things, but they're simply stated. They're not simple. They're very deep secrets. But they're so simple and plain that they fly over our heads.
So are you saying your body is a sign and symbol too?
Thank you, brother. We come to Allah how? Through ceremonies and forms. That's what our prophet taught us, right?
Yes, sir.
The body and the soul is a ceremony and a form. Didn't he say, wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou observe omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. Look at your body. It's a sign of the higher thing. The physical planets are a sign of the higher reality. So with our forefathers, when they attributed the 7 habitable planets to the 7 Elohim, they knew better. They weren't worshiping no physical planet. Yeah. They weren't talking about the physical planet. They understood that those planets are three-dimensional shadows of a higher reality. Guess who made that public in the West? Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientist Richard Hoagland, when he did in the 90s, when he did an address to the United Nations about what they found on Mars in the Cydonia region. He literally said those words. He said that we now have solid proof that at least one of the planets in our solar system exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But our forefathers knew this thousands and thousands of years ago, people. See? Our prophet brought us not necessarily what to think about. He brought us how to think. How? So when I look at Brother Ron, I see his physical face. I know that's the illusion because Allah speaks from within that. I want to get to know the Allah within. See? Our prophet said, if you would serve Allah, serve those who are your kin. And then those who are of no kin. The stranger at your gate, the foe who seeks to do you harm. The foe who seeks to do me harm? Yeah, him. Why? Because Allah is in him too. How about that? Allah is in him too. See? There's people I want to knock their head clean off the shoulders. But if I act on that, I'm not using my compass in my square, am I?
Right.
If I act on that, I'm not being a Muslim, am I?
Right.
I'm not being a Mason or a Muslim. How about that? See? What do I have to strive to do? I got to strive to serve that person. Even though I want to knock
those passions.
Yes, sir.
And subdue those passions.
Subdue the passions.
Yeah.
Subdue the passion. That's how that's how you want to know a true student of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, a true Moorish American. You watch how they act, not what they know. You watch how they treat people. That's how you know. Because we fell, not because we lost knowledge of ourselves. We knew exactly who we were when we fell. We fell because we stopped being Muslims. We stopped using that compass in that square. That's how we fell. So I don't care what people say they know. I don't care. Let me say that again. I don't care what. The brother Sheik 7 Islamil and I have developed a beautiful friendship and brotherhood. You know how? Because we got to know each other. We got to know each other. And guess what I see in that brother? I see the same or very similar sincerity that I have.
Facts.
That's why I tell that brother, I say, I love you, brother. You my brother.
Love you too, brother.
And that is how humanity is uplifted. That's how we go from a dead horizontal to a living perpendicular on the square. That's how.